Good afternoon. Let's look at page 62, question number 45. Now, as I look at this, I can solve it by any method, but nothing's particularly jumping out at me, so I'm going to get everything on one side and use the quadratic equation. So I'm going to subtract 5x from both sides, and I'm going to, subtract 3/4 from both sides. So now I have 3x squared. Well, I know 9 over 2 is 4.5, so that's going to give me minus 0.5x. And then that's going to give me minus 4 3/4. And that's going to equal 0. And that is just an ugly set of numbers, but we'll figure it out. 45. So let's use the quadratic equation. Equals a negative b, that is negative 0.5, plus or minus b squared minus 4 times a times c. Now I want to make c into a mixed number. I had a negative 4 3/4. Remember, you ignore the negative first and go around the world. So you take 4 times 4, which is 16. 16 times 3, or 16 plus 3 is 19 over 4. And then we make it negative. So we're going to put a negative 19 over 4 inside of there. And this is all over 2 times a. Now the convenient thing is that the 4 here and this 4 will cancel out because we were going to multiply them together anyway, and they're greatest common factors. So right now we have 0.5 plus or minus 0.5 squared. It's going to give us 0.25. And here we are going to add, because we're taking a negative times a negative, and we're multiplying the 3 times the 19. 57. That's all over 6. So let's figure out what 57.25 is. Take the square root of that. Well, that's not a nice number. 57.25. If we think about it, I guess we could just make it into decimals, because that seems like the easiest thing to do at this point. So I have 0.5 plus or minus, and if I take the square root of 57.25, that gives me plus or minus 7.56. Because it's not a nice fraction at all. 57 1/4. 57 1/4. What could I do with that? 57 times 4 plus 1, that would give me 229. I guess that's actually what they did in the answer book, so I'm going to go with that, and I'll show you why we're doing it. And I'm actually going to rewrite this as a fraction as well, so let's erase that. Put in 1 over 2, because 0.5 is just a half. So if we simplify that, we now have 1/2 plus or minus the square root of 229 over 2, because we had 2 pi 2 on, or 2. The square root of 4 is 2. And that was all over 6. Well, we don't want to have two sets of denominators, so we're going to multiply by reciprocals. So multiply that whole top by 1 over 6. So that's going to give us 1 plus or minus the square root of 229 all over 12, which is the answer they have in the book. Have a nice day. Goodbye.